here's the big question. How are entrepreneurs like us, who have been hustling and struggling to make it to success, who seem to make it one step forward only to fall two steps back, who are dedicated, determined, and driven? How do we finally break through and win? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Brian Kelly, and this is the Mind, Body, Business Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mind, Body, Business Show. We have a phenomenal show for you tonight because the one and only Clifford Starks is here, and you are going to love this young man. He's just an incredible individual, and I'll leave it at that for now because I'll let you be the judge, and I know you're going to come up with the same conclusions that I have already. I've just spoken with him for around a half an hour right before the show came on, and I really am impressed with this. I call him a young man. He is younger than I am. I'll just say that. And he's a brilliant young man. He understands what it takes to build a thriving and successful business. And he understands what it takes in large part due to his past experiences throughout his journey in life. And I'll let him tell those stories to you because you're going to love them. And you're going to love him directly as well. You're going to love them, the stories, and you're going to love him. And so the Mind, Body, Business Show, it is a show that I had put together with you in mind. And you, what does that mean? The entrepreneur, the business person, whether it's a small business, whether you haven't even started your business, or even on the other end of the spectrum, whether you're already cranking and going hard and very successful, or 8 or 9 figures already, it truly doesn't matter where you are in your journey. I've been doing this show for over 5 years. I interview only the most successful entrepreneurs we can find, and to a person that we bring on this show, there's always a new nugget of wisdom or experience or a strategy that you can literally take and implement in your business right away. And that's why I love what I get to do. And I know, because I've been doing this quite a while, that Clifford Starks will be no different. He will not disappoint. He will do the opposite. He will amaze you. And so stick with us through the entire show because you don't want to miss one word of this young man. And so this show is based on what I call the 3 pillars of success. And those come by way of my studying only successful people. I just concentrate on successful people for a period of a decade or so. And what happened is I noticed certain traits that came in common, or that were in common with these successful people. And time again, the 3 that were the most common, that kept bubbling up to the top, as I say, were what the very namesake of this show. And that is mind. Mind stands for mindset. And what I found in studying these successful people is that to a person, they each had a very powerful, very positive, and everyone thinks of those 2 things. And yet there's a third and even more important parameter here. They also have a very flexible mindset. And then body. Body is literally about the fact that these individuals took care of themselves physically and nutritionally. Yeah, I know some of you say the gym is a 4-letter word. I get it. And yes, it can be. And business. Business is so multifaceted. And what these individuals had done is they had mastered the various skill sets that are required to operate a business. Skill sets like team building, sales, marketing, systematizing, leadership. There are a lot. There are a bunch. There are plenty. The good news is, well, mastering any one thing can take a very long time. And I just rattled off a tiny subset of what is required. The good news is you really only need to master one of them. At least start focusing on mastering just one of them. No matter where you are today, if you're working on sales, your sales skills, your marketing skills, all these other skills, and there's a hint, it's not those. If you were to basically focus on one skill set, then you can use that to leverage and pull in the individuals that have already mastered the other skill sets that you have yet to master, or to be honest, you may never master in your lifetime because there's just not enough time to master every one by yourself. And that skill set, if you're interested, anyone interested, raise a hand, comment. Yeah, me. Nobody? Okay, I won't. No, I'm kidding. I'll tell you. The skill set that you want to focus on mastering right now is the skill set of leadership. And I say that even if you are a solopreneur. There are books written on this topic. I'm not going to go too deep down that rabbit hole, but at least you now know where you can change and shift your focus. Focus on leadership, get that rolling. And as you are getting to the point, as you're on the journey to mastering it, you can still leverage it. You don't have to wait till the very end. So that is a massive, massive time saver if you were to do that and just focus on that. Doesn't mean leave all the others to the side and don't even think about them. It means focus on leadership. And then, yes, after that focus and time permitting, you address the other ones. All right. And to a person, what I found out that these individuals that were very, very successful, they are also very avid readers of books. And so with that, I want to segue very briefly into a little segment I call bookmarks.
Bookmarks. Born to read. Bookmarks. Ready, steady, read. Bookmarks. Brought to you by reachyourpeaklibrary.com.
There you see it, reachyourpeaklibrary.com. Now, a quick word of advice before we go forward. Yes, Clifford Starks is coming on any second. In fact, I see him in the green room. Yep, there he is. He's scratching on the monitor saying, Brian, you better let me in soon because this guy, he could put a hurt on me. I'm telling you, you'll find out why. Yes, and I don't want that to happen. No, so we'll bring him on very, very soon. Reach Your Peak Library. So what I wanted to do is take a pump the brake just for a moment and let you know that when we go through this show, I know Clifford has many resources he's going to be sharing with you. We're going to be sharing with you websites, books, other resources. And there is that tendency, that desire, being a human being that we all are, to go off and start researching these as you're listening or watching the show. And I would implore upon you instead, for yourself, not for me, not for Clifford, for yourself, is to take out an old-fashioned pen and paper and take notes or write it down on your notepad on your computer. Why? And then visit the resources after the show is over. And the reason is because, oh my gosh, it would be so horrible if Clifford's talking and he drops that golden nugget that would have, for you, changed your life forever. And you missed it because your focus was somewhere else. You were out researching one of the resources. I would really not want that to happen for you. Please, for yourself, take out something to write notes with. If you're watching live, I hope you're watching live. And if you're not, go to the mindbodybusinessshow.com. It's a long URL, the mindbodybusinessshow.com. Click on any of the buttons that say where and how to watch, and then you'll get to be able to join us and engage with us. We love engagement, comments, all that good stuff. So back to reachyourpeaklibrary.com. So start practicing right now. Write that down. reachyourpeaklibrary.com. On this site, I literally had this built with you in mind because I myself was not a voracious reader until about 12 years ago, about the age of 47. And that pause is there on purpose because I know you're all doing the math right now as we speak. That's cool. I'm happy with it. I'm proud. I wear it on my sleeve. And so I learned in a very short period of time how powerful reading the right books could be to my business and to my personal life. And so I began having my team. I said, here's another one, put it on this website, put this one on the website. And these were the books that I had personally read and I personally vet. Not every book I've ever read since 12 years ago is on here. In fact, there are many more that should be on here that I've fallen way behind on. But this is a great, great set of books. And what it's here is for you. When you see the first book that you look, there's no rhyme or reason to the way these are in here. They're not alphabetic. You won't find them that way. So just scroll. And when one of those speaks to you and you say, I'd like to read that one, just go do it. Buy it wherever you want to buy it. You don't have to buy it from this website. That's not the purpose of this website. It is to get you to see books that are put in one place that at least one other successful person has vetted, so that optimizes your chances of not wasting your time. I cannot promise you that it will have the same impact on you as it did for me. There's no way I could do that, but at least the odds are greater that it will have a decent or a positive impact on you. Hope that's fair enough for you. So yeah, that's reachyourpeaklibrary.com. That's literally my gift to you. Any of those buttons that say buy here, they just go to Amazon. So feel free to do that and grab the next book, read it. And more importantly than reading and learning what's in the book is doing. acting on what you've learned. That is the most important component. Learning can only take you so far. Speaking of being taken so far, we're going to bring on a gentleman that can take you to the greatest heights you could ever imagine. His name is Clifford Starks, and he's coming on right now.
It's time for the Guest Expert Spotlight. Savvy, skillful, professional, adept, trained, big league, qualified.
There he is, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, it is the one. It is the only Clifford Starks. Yes. Woo. Yes. Welcome to the show, Clifford. How are you doing, my man?
I'm doing amazing. Thanks for having me on, Brian. I appreciate it.
You know, you are just this breath of fresh air. I got to say, you know, when we first met, we had never met before, a half hour before the show started. And as soon as you came on, I could feel it. You just have this really cool energy about you, a level of happiness, of authenticity. There's so many things I could say about you just from literally the first 5 minutes in talking to you. So I'm really excited to have you on this show because you are the type of person that you embody what it takes to be successful in my eyes, as far as your mindset and how you carry yourself, your level of joy, all of it put together in this one beautiful package called Clifford Starks. And the reason that is so important for people to understand is that when you talk, I hope that now that I put that little preface in there, that they will listen, not only listen, take notes, and then take action. So, Clifford, I'm so glad to have you here. Thank you for spending your valuable time and going through the heat that you're going through right now. Love it. I love it. So if you don't mind, Clifford, what I like to do is do a formal introduction of you. And then I'm going to ask those really deep digging, no, they're going to be cool questions that will bring out great value for everybody here in a moment. Would that be cool?
Absolutely. Sounds like a plan.
All right. Clifford, listen to this, people. Clifford is a former professional athlete who fought inside the UFC cage. Do I really need to go farther? I will. And he's a trailblazing coach for entrepreneurs looking to live their greatest life. He embodies resilience and breakthrough. Now, I'm going to pause just a second. Everyone realize and think about how that there's a parallelism to his past with what it took to become a successful business person. And all of these traits are just the embodiment of that. He embodies resilience and breakthrough, transforming life's challenges into stepping stones and supporting those he serves to do the same with a zeal for living in the next 11. Ooh, I don't even know what that means. That's going to be cool. A realm beyond comfort zones. Clifford inspires entrepreneurs to shock the world and themselves, supporting leaders to embrace their journey, stretch your limits, and unleash extraordinary potential. Ladies and gentlemen, formally and officially, Clifford Starks. Can I call you champ?
What's up, amazing people? Yeah. We're all champs here.
I love it. So you have a great, very compelling background. It's very interesting and intriguing to me. We will show people your website here in a little bit later. And that's another reason, folks, to be watching this live or to watch the recorded video. Live is for sure the best way to do it. But we will bring that up so people can get a look, and we'll tell you the URL. So those of you that are listening, you can get to there as well. If you're listening on podcasts, that's cool. So Clifford, man, you have this really cool backstory. You went through as a competitive athlete, got all the way through the ranks of MMA. You went to the UFC. You fought in the cage. You've been through the ups and downs. You've been through what it takes to be successful in the cage. What was that experience like? Take us through that through your eyes and give us the ups, the downs, and everything in between if you can.
Yeah, like even speaking on the growth zone, you're always stepping out of your comfort zone. Like every single time you're stepping into new levels of the growth zone. And what I take it as is every time your feet hit the ground, you are in your arena. Now, whether you know you're in your arena or not, that's another thing altogether. And I didn't realize how true that was until I had to battle me inside a cage, because that's who you're battling. You're not battling the person across from you. You're battling your mind, telling you all sorts of scary things and what not to do and why you shouldn't do it. And did you kiss your mom before you did that? It's like, why are we walking into this place? Because it's dangerous. And as I've gone through the process, your mind wants to keep you safe, but it wants to keep you so safe that you don't thrive. It wants to keep you safe enough to survive, and that's it. And that's not what I wanted. And so when I got into fighting, I'm like, what's the new crazy thing I can do? I know. Fight with other people of equal strength, capabilities, and power to me. And so that's when I got into the cage, and I learned a lot of lessons through the process.
I can't imagine. And I mean, I liken what you have been through to some who have gone through military as well. So because it takes such an increased level of discipline, those that have had any success level of any kind, it takes a lot to get to that point where you can be successful. And so what you came through is very physical, on top of mental. So you're doing both. Business is primarily mental. You were hitting it from both sides. No pun intended. Get it? Hitting it. Anyway, so I know it's bad, Brian. So it's pretty cool though that you are faced with climbing the peak of both of those, both physically and mentally. And it's interesting that you point out first thing you talked about when it came to that experience was your mind. When did you realize that how important the mind was in the overall equation?
This might sound a little crazy. I realized that at 5 years old. Yeah. My grandfather passed away, and my body literally seized up. Like I was seized up because I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die one day. And I was really, really aware of that reality. And I went through the levels that everybody has to go through. And I took it past acceptance because I wasn't just going to accept. I wanted to thrive. And I said, okay, if I'm going to die, I'm going to live as much life as I can. And that's what I focused on doing.
Wow. At 5, holy smokes. I think I was more like 45. Actually,
by the way, I love your bookmark books because they're so powerful for people to just get the awareness. I started reading in personal development when I was 19, and I was so thankful for having all of those awarenesses, so many greats to share their stories, their lessons, and their journeys.
At 19, so what, 3 years ago?
I'll take it.
If you don't mind sharing your age, because there's no way everyone's going to believe you. I don't.
Yeah, I'm 43 years old.
Oh my goodness.
Well, and you mentioned the attitude, and I think a part of it is having a good attitude. It keeps you young.
I agree. I totally agree with that. Attitude, keeping stress out of your life as much as you can. A big part of that is through keeping physically active and nutritionally on your game. Those are two big pieces. I can tell just by looking at you, seeing your website, you're on top of that game as well. And all those things, there's this thing called genetics, and some of us do age faster than others, at least the appearance on the outside. And that happens. But, I was watching or looking at you going, what do you mean retired? As I'm looking through your website, it's like, you still got like 20 years to go, man, the way you're looking. And so you talked about this being in the cage, fighting. Were you ever knocked out?
I was on live TV of all things. And in the UFC, and they're bad at that because they show it in so many different angles and in slow motion. You get to watch yourself like, well, that sucks.
It does. But what did that teach you the moment you got knocked out and you're going through all those emotions as you're coming back?
Like there were so many layered lessons behind that. It sucked. Like it sucked. There's no other way to put it. I was frustrated and angry. And one of my coaches said, you had a perfect game plan in there. And sometimes when you zig and they zag, that's what happens. And that was a piece of it. There was another piece where I knew I was half a second off, and that half a second made all the difference. I really, really reward him for how he set it up, because I knew he had that particular. It was a flying knee of all things, and I knew he had it. I knew he had it in the holster, and I let my mind slip for that half a second. And so one of my learning lessons was that's all it takes. Half a second off, and it doesn't go the way that you wanted it to. And then the other thing that I learned, this was from one of my clients. He actually said he finally gets me, and I didn't know what he meant by he finally gets me. I thought he always got me, but I was like, well, what do you mean? And he goes, you shrugged it off and you went back to business as usual with this happy, smiling face and enjoyed life. And you just got back on that horse. And I know, like it was one thing I didn't want to happen. One thing I never wanted to happen ended up happening. Didn't want to get knocked out, especially in the UFC. I said that. And there it is. But he said the way that you handled it afterwards proved who you were. And that's where I go, holy crap, he's never seen me lose before. Like the greats and the really solid people, the champs, whatever you want to call it, they've all lost in the practice room. Everyone loses in the practice room.
Yeah.
And sometimes people forget that.
Absolutely. And the cool thing about that is we all go through these things, these circumstances in life, the wins and the losses. And what people I think don't realize or recognize, to become successful at most anything, you have to go through losing a lot before you ever hit that win. And then it may be some time before you get the next win. There may be because here's the thing, when you win, what are you looking for to do next is win the next one. And then there's always another piece of the ladder to climb. And you are looking to become the world champ ultimately. And so it takes iteration. It takes winning multiple times to get that rating, the ranking, so that you get considered, I hope I'm saying this right, to be a contender of the actual crown, or what do they call it in UFC. And so it takes, my gosh, discipline, perseverance, fortitude, mental and physical in your case. And it's just like, wow, that's a lot to put upon oneself. And if people just recognize that by itself, and then only to just step into the ring by the cage, that'd be enough. I mean, that's like saying you've reached it. You are victorious in my eyes, whether you made it through or not on the victory side. A.M. Williams says, awesome, Cliff. You rock, bro.
A.M. in the house.
I love it.
Thank you, sir.
On LinkedIn. Thank you for coming on, A.M. And so everything you're talking about, I love it because it's so transferable over into the business world and literally what it takes, minus the physical, unless your business is, say, boxing or UFC fighting or something like that, or you're a professional athlete like football, basketball, that kind of thing. But when we're talking about business and we're running our own business, so many things you've gone through. How would you say the UFC life most helped you in your business life after UFC was over?
Sometimes you don't know until you've gone through it long enough. And what I mean by that is when I first started in entrepreneurship, I felt like I was an ice skater. They put ice skates on me and they said, hey, skate around. Man, you're not doing that very well. And I'm like, this kind of sucks. And I almost pulled my groin a couple of times. Like, holy crap. But I had people who really, really believed in me. I had clients who believed in me. I had mentors who believed in me. And I for sure am going to believe in me. And when I say for sure going to believe in me is if you want anything in life, you have to believe in yourself.
Yes.
Like you have to believe in yourself, because sometimes people get lucky. And what I mean by lucky, and it's not to take from anyone, but it's really to press upon everybody. Sometimes people get good family dynamic. Sometimes that's what they get, and they get those habits poured into them. But if they're still not receiving it, it doesn't matter. So looking at who's pouring into you versus who shouldn't be pouring into you, it's really, really critical. I know Jim Rohn talks about, you're not a leaf going in the river of life. Like you can move, you can do things, you can become what you want to become. And for me, going through my journey was like that perseverance that you're talking about. I didn't know it was going to serve me. I just keep going until I start figuring it out, start learning the lessons, and I'm able to apply them. And even when you say learning them, like you don't learn anything without taking the action. It just doesn't happen. It would be like if I wrote you up a workout program and I wrote you up a nutrition program and you're looking at it like, oh my goodness, I've absorbed all of this and now I'm in shape and I look great. Like, no, you got to actually take the action.
And that's true of, oh my gosh, so true of a lot of colleagues and friends of mine who I know personally when it comes into entrepreneur space. We'll go to the workshops, we'll go to the seminars, and we'll go through all the actions there. We leave and we don't do a thing after. You know, the luster wears off when we leave, the excitement, because if you don't take action right away, it's more than likely you won't take action at all. And that has been like the number one killer of dreams and businesses that I have seen in my life, is the lack of taking action on that you just learned. And there's so many keys to this though. I mean, how important is it to you, Clifford, when you're going to things like these, and when you're looking for, say, a mentor or a coach, how important is it to you, and how much work do you put into determining if that person or that organization has already reached a level that you aspire to reach, and they truly are proven in what they do, before you spend your time and money working with that person? Do you put some time and effort in doing the research before you get involved?
I get better and better at doing that on a daily basis. And one thing you mentioned on the intro is practice leadership. And as a leader, to me, I think that's legacy. I think that's lifestyle. And I think that's leverage, and finding those 3 points. So when you're looking for a mentor, you're really, really asking the right questions, knowing who can serve you, knowing who you can serve too. Because if you're just leeching on the mentor, they don't want to be around you. Like they're just like, I don't want to deal with this person. But if they're in a space where my mentors love me, they absolutely love me. And I'm so grateful for that. And I absolutely love them. It makes for a really, really solid bond. Sometimes energy, you just feel it. You know, I've been married to my wife for 17 years, and here comes the society. And I have to say the society, because society gives you these cues. Like they know your life. Like, oh, well, you got to do it this way and you got to do it that way. And last time I checked, common sense isn't common practice. And common practice is let a person live the life they want to live. And if you want to give them some advice, you should ask them some questions first before you go, well, you should do it this way and you should do it that way. That was their life, not yours. And so I don't know how anyone should do anything until I actually ask the question. But I bring that up because I proposed to my wife after 3 weeks of dating her.
Woo.
Yeah, most people will be like, don't do that. That's not smart. That's so dangerous. This is so bad. I don't know what you're doing. And they're listening to this damn thing all over again.
Yeah. True. You know, we've all been conditioned, some say programmed, and a lot of it comes from our upbringing. You know, they say there's the imprint stage between 0 and 7, where most of our behaviors are pretty much instilled a lot from our external experiences, like from our parents, our siblings, kids that we go to school with, things like that, teachers. And it's so true. And the good news is there are ways to break free of those shackles. And I call them shackles because, like you were saying, a leaf that falls in the water, we can move. We can move, but most of us don't. And we keep ourselves in this it's like a mental jail, and we don't even realize it. That's the thing. And that's when I learned at the age of 47, this whole key being around mindset. That's when the world opened up to me. And I'm like, whoa, I didn't know what I didn't know. And it was so inspiring. This is the time, Clifford, I got to do it. I just finished writing my very first book. I normally don't like to talk about my own stuff, but man, I'm so excited. Mind Body Business. This is over 10 years in the making. This book is the inspiration for the show you're watching right now. because this show's only been going for about a little over 5 years, over 10 years when I started writing this book. And it doesn't look, it's an easy read. You can see it's not very thick, just under 200 pages. It's got some unbelievable experiential things in it. You get to go to see a few videos that will change your life in NLP world. And that's mindbodybusinessbook.com is where you can find that. It's on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. So that was my wonderful plug moment. So thanks for being patient with me on that one, Clifford. But it's right down the same path, because it's all about everything we're talking about and what I've learned in life. And just talking to you in the 30 minutes before the show and now, I can see we have a lot of things in common based on what we've learned from whom even. We were both talking about a common friend, Jeff Fagan. I love you, Jeff, if you're watching. And so many great things. You are very well educated in the business space. I can tell instantly. You've been through it. You have this calmness of your demeanor where I can tell you are not in that scarcity mode that most, including yours truly, start out in when you're just starting a business. And so it's like a dog sensing fear. You know, Clifford, you were talking about this before we came on too. It's like you can tell when they're not really at the point they should be or want to be yet, because they act a certain way.
100%. And what's cool, like, you know, when you speak on mind, body, business, I start going, Tony Robbins talks about how success leaves clues and patterns. And my journey, so the fighter's formula is mind, heart, and skill. And I start looking at, and Jeff talks about right vehicle, right knowledge. And I start looking at the threes and the threes of power. And the truth is they all go hand in hand. Yes. And there are all our own unique flavor of how we express it. But principles are principles. And when people follow the principle in the way they have to follow the principle, their life transforms. It's a very powerful thing.
Yeah, I liken them to laws. They're laws of success.
Yeah.
You know, if you follow them, it's inked. It's in writing. It's going to happen. If you just follow them. It's like, I always say this, there are, you know, how do you become successful, Clifford? Well, you know, there are recipes for success. Literally, you pull out the recipe book, you put in the flour, you put in the milk and the eggs. And if you do it just the way the book says, you're going to come up with a perfect cake if that's what you want. Well, there are also recipes for success in business. And the cool thing is there are a ton of them. How many do you need, though? As one person, how many recipes for success do you need?
You know, it's so crazy because I look at, they say there's two sides to everything, right? There's two sides to a coin, two sides to a hand, two sides to a frying pan. And I'm like, everything is both good and bad at the same time. Because ultimately you got to know you. That's why it really is you versus you. Because if you have so much stuff and you're half trying everything, then that's not going to work either. And if you're like, I'm going to go all in, but you're going all in on the wrong thing. So that's not good.
Yes.
And so it's figuring out like, okay, who am I? Like you literally have to learn yourself to see what will work for you.
And that very topic right there can stop people dead in their tracks, because like me, in the old me, paralysis by analysis, because I'll go, well, I don't know who I want to be yet, so I guess I have nothing to choose to even go after right now. And they'll just stop. Well, the thing is pick what you think you like. This happened to me. It's happened, I'm sure, to every entrepreneur. You pick one, you go after it. You go, you know what? There's something I actually am more in alignment with over there. It's time to put that one to the side and now shift gears and go there. I did this somewhat recently. I used to be a certified personal trainer. And I was told by 3 different people, 3 different occasions, all in a 1 month time span, Brian, every time you talk about fitness, I don't feel the passion compared to when you talk about automating stuff online. I said, wow, 3 different times, 3 different ways. My wife was one of them. And I literally shut down my fitness business in a single day, wiped out every video I spent a long time putting together. And you know what? I did not feel 1 ounce of remorse. So I knew deep inside, I made the right choice. And that's when you kind of get it. But you may not get it for a while. The only way you're going to get it, though, is if you actually do take action, move forward on something that you even think you would love to do.
Yeah. Yeah. That's 100% true. And it's so interesting because one being your significant other, and it's figuring out what's abundant and what's lack, right? Because someone can hate on you because of they are really hating on themselves. And then someone can say, you know what, I'm not feeling that. And they're really not feeling that. And that's for you. And so that's another added layer of complexity. But I like simple stories. Like I think they're very powerful. And there's a story of a donkey, and there's a barrel of hay on one side, and there's water on the other side. And the donkey's like, oh man, like it's overthinking everything. It's like, well, if I eat the hay, then I'm going to be thirsty. And if I drink the water, then I'm going to be hungry. And it's debating, like, okay, which one do I do? Like, which one do I do? So the donkey ends up dying. And the moral of the story is the donkey could have ate the hay and then went to go drink the water, or it could have drank the water and then went to go eat the hay.
Yeah, and it's perfect story.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And also speaking of stories, I wanted to not forget the fact that you're no longer a UFC fighter. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you had indicated to me you actually had 2 to 3 more years left in you physically. I'm curious what happened. What made you decide to walk away from the cage?
Yeah. So I'm warming up in the back. And remember when I said I was 5 years old and I was terrified? That's the same feeling I got when I was
Ooh.
warming up in the back. And I'm like, what in the hell is going on? Like, and I could tell my coach knew something was off because the pop wasn't there. I was just off. And I'm like, what's going on? Why am I so off right now? And I'm walking to the cage, and I swear it felt like the song "Why Can't We Be Friends" was playing. There's an episode of The Simpsons where he's getting ready to fight Mike Tyson. Quote, I don't even remember what they named him. They named him something else, but he had all of Mike Tyson's characteristics. And he's going out, "Why can't we be friends?" And that's what it felt like as I was walking to the cage. I'm like, I'm gonna die. Like, what is wrong with me? And I was trying to figure it out, like what it was. The cage door shuts. And I literally go into I'm like, oh crap. I gotta watch my kid tomorrow. My mind was on my kid, and I didn't
Wow.
even know it. I didn't even know it. It was split. And I'm looking, there's this angry Russian ready to knock my head off, where I'm like, well, let's see what we got, Cliff. I learned something. I ended up losing that fight, but I was actually the better fighter. Remember that half step that I was off against that one fighter in UFC? Well, I was half a step off the entire fight. I felt it the entire fight. And I realized when I talk about mind, heart, and skill, my mind was there. I'm
Mm.
mentally going to do what I need to do. My skill was there. I had the skills to compete at a high level. My heart wasn't in it. My heart was with my kid. And if one of those pieces are off,
Yep.
cut your losses.
Wow. So you decided after that fight that was it.
Yeah. And my coach knew it. You know, it's
Wow.
terrible. It's terrible when the ref goes, you had him out on his feet. Like, I was just like, I know I had him out on his feet. It was the second round. He was out on his feet, and I shot for a takedown because my heart just wasn't in the fight.
Wow. And so it's a great lesson, even in business life. It's important to know when it's time to move on.
Yeah.
If you're not doing something that you're truly in alignment with, you'll know it. You
Mhm.
may be not honest with yourself. I was that way. I thought I really love fitness. I love going to the gym. I'm finally going back. I've had surgery on both shoulders. I got osteoarthritis in the knee. You know, things are starting to get old and stuff, but I'm not going to quit. And I love going. I love it. I really do. But I don't love it as much as I love automation. So that was, and then my life was fulfilled. I'm like, I'm on the computer hours a day and I love it.
Yep.
And if you
Yep.
don't have that love for something, you know, do you hear these debates about, you got to be passionate about what you do. And others will say, that's a bunch of crap. You got to just get good at something and go do it. What do you feel about that?
I call it, so my fifth principle is extreme responsibility. And that means to respond with your ability. So I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. For me personally, I say, why can't I have both? There's always a way to have both. Now we just have to be willing to ask ourselves the right questions. I think people get really, really lazy and say, and I'm not saying I don't, because I'm in the same boat as everybody else, but I think we get really, really lazy and say, do this, like this, because that's what I did. That's what I know. That's what such and such did. Well, they're not such and such. They're them. So there is a way, because just like this thing is full of crap, it's full of brilliance too.
Mm-hmm.
We get to learn how to use it effectively. It's a process. And so when you go, you are working for me, it's not the other way around. And I think too often people work for it. They say it thinks it's the boss and it bosses you around, and you don't live the life that you want to live.
Wow. I have never heard it talked about like this. This is very profound. I was telling people, I recommended they take notes. And so I just wanted to let them know, everybody watching and listening, that I'm running the show. I'm doing the scenes and switching the cameras, the lights, all that good stuff. And I am also taking notes as we go along. So actually it just brought up a different weird screen, but yeah, there it is. So I'm going to get writer's cramp before this one's over. And I love it. That's my goal, is to get writer's cramp on every show that I get to host. But I mean, I've got so many great bullet points from you. Ask the question. You said that. Ask the question. That is one of the most important things you can do as a business person to become successful. And most of us, especially the men, even women though, won't ask the question, because why? We think that that's revealing a weakness because we don't know the answer. What is that called? It's that 3-letter word called ego, the cancer to any successful business. So the opposite is exactly the case. Is the more questions you ask, the faster you become successful. The most curious people on the planet are the most successful people on the planet. And so I really wanted to highlight that you brought that up. Ask the question, who is pouring into you? I love that. Who are you allowing to occupy space in your brain, in your being, and allow them to talk to you, even though they're not really talking to you, but you hear their voices and they're driving and dictating your direction. Who are you letting do that? And who should you fire as a friend? Would be the opposite. Who should you fire as the person you hang out with? Just stop. Go to the ones that are helping empower you, that are not looking at you going, oh, and giving you that trash talk because they truly want what you have. They're just jealous. That's really what that comes from. My gosh, you have to believe in yourself. That is so true. I mean, everything you said is on this sheet, just about everything. And it's so true, to really get to that point where you are doing what you want to do. That will help you to really believe in yourself. That then gives you more confidence. And when you have more confidence, you get more business and you become more successful. And that just feeds itself. It's a wonderful vicious cycle. So, all right, that's the end of the show. I'm sorry. No, that's not. So Clifford, you are an amazing man. And I wanted to now, if you don't mind, is showcase your specific business. I know everyone is probably curious, like, what does this guy do? He's a former UFC cage fighter. He got the right signal and he said, I'm done. I'm going to be there for my kids. And that's a spooky thing. When you said that, you got the same feeling before you went in the cage and you still went in. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
I was kind of freaking out knowing that the outcome was okay. Still, I'm like, oh man. But if you don't mind, what I'd like to do is actually, I'll pull up your website on the screen. And if you wouldn't mind letting everyone know who it is that you serve, who are the people that you are helping in what ways, and what is it you do for them? So what is your target market? What are the services you provide? And then my favorite part of the whole thing is if you have a success story or two you'd like to share about a particular client, you don't have to name names, up to you. I'd love to hear that too. Would that be cool?
Absolutely.
All right, let me pull that up and I'll let you just take it away.
So I am an inner warrior coach. I support leaders, specifically leaders who are looking to grow so that they can grow their business and grow their life. And I had one client, I've actually had multiple clients as they've gone through their journey, but one success story. So I had one client who is a powerhouse of a woman, and she knew how to get the attention of a room. But one thing that she was missing was it's not necessarily just about the attention that you get, but it's about what you're going to do for them. That's what people really care about. Like, okay, you're great. You're amazing. They don't care. What can you do for me? And when you can share that in such a way, it creates such a bond. And she's been able to bond with people at a level that she couldn't before. Where when you get that bond right, they talk about it's about relationships, and it is, but it's also about having transaction too. Both are important. Because if you're in business and you have a bunch of relationships and a bunch of people not paying you, well, that's a dangerous business to be in. That business is going to die. But if you have relationships with raving fans who are actually paying you and paying you happily, that's a win-win on both directions. You win, they win, and they get the result. And so that's what I focus on doing, help people put in the reps so that they can win in their life and in their business.
Fantastic. So what kind of, is it individuals that you work with? Is it group coaching? Is it corporations? What kind of, what does your actual client base look like?
So I have both group and I do have one-on-one. And it goes back to me as a fighter. Like, I became the best fighter that I could become because I had group training and I also had one-on-one with the coach.
Love it.
Now I'm connected with Ken Cook and David Bear, and they talk about strategy first. It's about asking the right questions before you even get into the tactical areas. I think oftentimes we are all tacticked out, and people are starting to realize having a tactic without a strategy backing that tactic can be rather dangerous, especially if you're looking to run a business. And so I have that strategy first approach where I ask the right questions to make sure they're taking the right actions.
I think I know those two gentlemen.
Yes. Yes.
And they work together, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, yes, I have met with them. Very astute, very knowledgeable, very good people to be associated with. The website we are talking about, for those of you that are listening on podcast only, it's called thefightersformula.com. Thefightersformula.com. And so you want to go there. So we're not anywhere near done here, but what would be the best way for folks to reach out to you to say, hey, I want to learn more about how you coach people to see if you can help me to take my business and my life to the next level? What would be the quickest way for them to get to you?
Yeah,
so
the fastest way, you can go on my website and take the quiz. It's an archetype quiz that goes over, are you a fighter? Are you a warrior? Are you adaptive? Are you a civilian? You can also message me on Facebook Messenger at Clifford Starks. And you can connect with me on LinkedIn too. To say, and let me know that you're on the Brian Kelly Show too.
Right.
So I know you're a pretty cool person then.
I love it. Thank you, brother. So yeah,
Absolutely.
So Clifford.Starks.3, the number 3. If you go to Facebook, facebook.com/Clifford.Starks.3, the number 3. So fantastic. So there now, everyone, you have no excuse for not getting in touch with Clifford. And so that's the thing we want to do, is remove excuses. Oh, by the way, I wanted to say congratulations on your podcast. That's fantastic. And what Clifford is doing is, watch him, follow him, model him. And why do I say that? You want to find someone who has success that you aspire to achieve, and then you simply model them. That's your recipe. You don't need to have 5 different mentors all at once. I mean, over time, you may end up with 5 and coaches, and you might bring a coach that's a specialist in sales or marketing, if that's your bailiwick, if that's something you should be even in on, because if that isn't, you should be bringing in a team member to do that. But all the things that go with business, is you just want to find those that have achieved a level of success that you also aspire to achieve, and then model what they do, which means copy them. And Clifford, is it okay with you if people copy what you do and become successful like you?
100%.
See,
100% go all in.
look, he's a
I have
UFC fighter, and he's not
one
going to keep up.
exercise. Yeah, I got one exercise I call a third, and a third. And a third of the people are where you want to be. Like you're where you're at and you want to be there. A third of the people are right where you're at. Keeps you hungry, keeps you learning, keeps you growing, and you keep each other excited. And a third of the people are actually trying to get to where you're already at. And it keeps you, it helps you teach effectively. It helps you coach effectively. And when you can teach and coach effectively, you actually become better at being led and being a follower. Because I think every great leader is also a great follower.
So true. Yeah, and I have this philosophy with my team that I will never change for the rest of my life. If I have an employee, a VA, someone that's in my team, I never say they work for me. They work with me, because we are just that, a team. Yes, I am the final decision maker. They have to have that in every organization. The thing is, though, if you're working with somebody instead of for somebody, the relationship is quite different. Meaning, we are in this together. You can make mistakes. You can make many mistakes. If your intent is with the best intentions possible, and you're trying your hardest, and you're doing your best, and you made a mistake, I don't get down on anybody for that. I say, let it go. It's over. It's in the past. Let's move forward. I don't even say go back and correct it, because it's already done. It's like, let's move on. Then if it happens too many times, it's like, you know what? I'm not going to get mad at you. You're just not in the right place. Let's find you a place where you can better portray your skill set. There's always a place for somebody. It doesn't mean you've found the right spot. So I asked them along the way, is this something you feel right about doing? You don't know how to do this. You told me, would you be open to learning it? Would that be okay? And I mean, give me an honest answer. And if they say yes, I said, great. You're one of those. You want to learn stuff. Good. So go after it. And then I have one that did one, and I could tell it was arduous. And in our meetings, I could sense it. Like, yeah, I can tell that's not one of those that you're too thrilled with, isn't it? And eventually we got done with that one and moved on. But let's see. So where are we? Are you still with me, Clifford? I see a still image. Talk to me if you can hear me. This happened the other day, and this is technology. So Clifford will most likely be back with us here. We got a little bit of time left on the show. While we're waiting, go ahead and drop in the comments. If you have a question for Clifford, go ahead and drop it in there when he makes his way back. I'm sure it's just an internet issue at the moment. Then we can have group participation here. Have someone else ask a question of Clifford. It's amazing what he does, what he's decided to do with his mindset. He has worked very hard in becoming the best person he can be. And that is in big part to help and serve others like you. And so that's one of the amazing things about successful entrepreneurs, is that to a person, we all want the best for you, for everyone. And there, just on cue, he is coming back to us. And let me bring him in here. There we go. How you doing? He's back. Yes.
Hey, it's been a while. How you doing?
I know. God, it's like we were just talking moments ago. It's crazy. Yeah. So yeah, we are getting close to the end. I did want to say it verbally for those of you watching us live. Thanks for staying with us. And there is a reward at the end of that. If you stay on for just a few more minutes before we close out the show, I will reveal how you can enter to win a 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort. And there are many locations throughout the world. The winner gets to choose which one. It is a bona fide vacation stay at a bona fide resort. It is not one of those where they bring you in, welcome you, then shuffle you down to the basement, strap you in a chair, water drip torture you, and ask you to buy a timeshare. No, it's not that. Not that at all. Yes, I can tell Clifford's been through that too. I've been through it myself. Like, oh my God. You're on vacation and you waste 4 hours in a timeshare presentation. No, that's not it. This is literally, you are like another guest. They know no difference that you did not pay for your stay in full. So that's it. It's awesome. So stay with us till the end, and I will reveal how you can win. I can't wait to see who the winner is. Last show. You know what? I'm feeling good. I'm gonna anyone who enters because of Clifford Stark's amazingness. It's because of him. If you just enter to win, you will be a winner. Not just one person, every person.
Nice.
Yeah.
There you all go. Everybody's a winner.
That's
love
right. Ooh, I like that even better. And it's awesome. My last guest, his company, the acronym was WIN, Warriors in Need.
Nice. Oh, I
So
love
yeah.
it.
Oh, this feels good. I'm getting goosebumps. That was a good decision. So we're doing 2 of those back to back. So yeah, that'll be my gift to everyone. And don't forget, pick up the book Mind Body Business at mindbodybusinessbook.com. I gotta do that. It's kind of fun because I've never been able to do that before. Have you written a book yet, Clifford?
I have. I'm looking to write another one on the fighter's formula specifically, and I'm not going to ruin the secret, so I'm going to stop right there. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm definitely excited.
You know, I talked to so many of my colleagues who had written a book, and I'd always ask them, "So, what happened as a result? Are you glad you did?" And they're like, "Oh yeah," and they all say there's absolutely nothing like holding that book in your hands for the very first time after it's done. I'm thinking, whatever, come on.
Yeah.
And then mine showed up, and I mean, I was running around the house. Like I was like geez, I was screaming. I was like, oh, it's awesome. I shot a video unboxing it and I'm showing them. Wow, look at that. Look, I got a hardcover.
Literally like a kid. Yeah, it's like a kid. It's emotionally hitting. Yeah.
And I didn't see it coming, the emotional charge, but that was over 10 years. I mean, it wasn't like 10 years of nonstop writing. Obviously, it's not that big of a book.
Yeah.
The cool thing is it's a culmination of experience of 10 years of my life's experience from my lens. And it's not about me. It's about helping people to get to that next level of success based on what I've learned. So give them a shortcut. And so that excites me to help people. And then to see it in print, like, whoa. And then here's the other thing though. And I'm glad you said yes, that you've written a book, because another thing I found for a lot of my colleagues is because of their book, they were getting speaking engagements. Some were being reached out to unsolicited. I mean, they just saw that they were an author and they reached out to them and say, would you like to come speak on our television set? And they're like, you don't even know me yet. And they're like, that's okay. We read your book. We want you. So it gives you opportunity. It's a calling card. So think about this versus just a business card. You know, it gives authority status. People look at you a little differently. So I'm doing all this to be a little coaching moment. So everyone out there, if you don't have a book, everyone has a book in them. And don't worry, no matter the topic, someone has written about it before you. The thing that makes it unique is your stories, your lens, your vantage point, your experiences. So just get out there and write it. Be an 100%. Author. Clifford, my man, oh my God, it's already at the end. So don't forget the fightersformula.com. Put it up on the screen again for those of you that want to write that down. Don't forget to write it down. Don't go away, because I'm going to be asking Clifford a very profound question to end the show. And I'm telling you, you do not want to miss this. You want to stick around. Yeah, we'll probably go a couple minutes over. Hope you don't mind, everyone, including Clifford.
Yeah.
And so this question, Clifford, is amazing for so many different reasons. It is one of the most profound questions I've stumbled upon. And I literally stumbled upon it because I used to ask it on occasion back during the early days of the show, five years ago. And then I started taking mental note, like, wow, these answers, they're so profound. So I decided to close every show out with that one question. I am so glad I have. And as I mentioned to you earlier, you don't know what the question is, but as I mentioned to you earlier, I'm going to be compiling a book of everyone's answers, and the title of the book will be the question itself, and it's going to be an awesome book. I can't wait for that one. It's probably going to take more work to put that together than it did to write my own, but I'll get help for that one. So The cool thing about it, well, before we do that, real quick, I promised a 5-night stay at a 5-star luxury resort vacation stay. How about I give that away right now, and then we'll close the show with that question. I think that's the thing to do. So don't go to this website yet. Please write this down. If you're at that website, you're going to be entering your information to enter to win, and you won't be listening to Clifford's answer. So please, for yourself, write this down. I'll put it up on the screen. You must be watching live. And that URL is ryp.im/vacation. Clifford, write that down yourself. You are also eligible. ryp.im/vacation. When I gave it away previously to just one winner, the guest speaker always gets a chance to enter, and I have had several win. So you're going to be a winner just by entering tonight. So you're in. ryp.im/vacation, all lowercase.
Just take a picture.
Oh, I'll put it back. Did you get it?
I think I did. Yep, I did.
All right. Cool beans. Yeah. And don't worry, after the show's over, we will still be monitoring for the entries and you will win. It's guaranteed win. So write it down. Do not go there yet because you don't want to miss the amazing answer by this amazing man. So, Clifford, 2 great things about this question, in addition to all the other hype and buildup already, is that there is no such thing as a wrong answer.
Sweet.
It's not a test.
Those are my favorite tests.
Yeah, it's not a test. It's not a quiz. In fact, it's the other cool thing about it is it's the exact opposite. And that is the only correct answer will be yours. Nice. The reason is because it will be unique to you. There's nobody else that can answer it your way. And another great side benefit to the whole thing is you might have the answer like that, or it may take you several or many seconds to formulate the answer. Even that is absolutely 100% perfect because it's your answer. So now there's no stress, no worry. Just what the heck is the question already, Brian? That's what he wants to know. And I know I've done this a lot. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
He's like, please. All right. Clifford Starks, how do you define success?
Success is a combination of getting fulfillment right and getting your achievement right. Going all in on your life, loving life fully, having gratitude, really, really putting in the reps for gratitude and putting in so many reps for gratitude that you don't even have to think about it. It's second nature. It's just a part of who you are. And giving as much light and love to people as you can, including yourself, going deep into you and into others so that you can all win and you can thrive and all be abundant.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Clifford Starks right there. And that was an amazing answer. All of them. And again, I will say it to you as I said earlier, and that is no 2 people. I've been doing this one for, I don't know how many years to end the show. A lot. No 2 people yet have answered it the same way. Nice. You know what's interesting, Clifford, is if I ask you that same question in 5 to 10 years, I'll bet I get a different answer.
Oh, I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it.
That's the beautiful thing of it. It depends on where you are in life and what success means to you at that moment. If we were 18, 19, 20, when I got that Lambo and that Ferrari, that mansion, right? And it's going to be money-centric, materialistic. And then as you get older, it's like, that stuff don't matter. It's more about love and life. And then as you get older and older, it's like, none of that matters anymore. It's awesome. I love it. Yeah. God is good. He's given us all these great experiences. We're here to help each other, to serve each other. Amen. And that's what you're doing. And I appreciate you for doing that, Clifford. And I wish massive wealth upon you so that you can help and serve more people and scale your business.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Man, it's been awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't like doing this, but it is time. We have to close this show up in respect for all of you, your time and Clifford's time, especially to you, Clifford. Thank you once again. I appreciate you, brother. And I can't wait to continue our relationship forward beyond just this show. And maybe we'll join forces in Arizona at some point. Maybe you can come to Florida. Huh? It's nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really nice. Right by the ocean. It's nice.
Away from the humidity. And I do want to say to everybody, 1, I want to thank you all for watching. And 2, I just want to give a thought on how I get my brain to do what I need it to do, because our brains are crazy. We all want the good stuff in life. We want to be able to walk through the door. We want to be able to get to where we want to go. We want to get able to our glory, our dream. What we have to think about is, what if we don't walk through the door, though? What if we don't take the leap? What if we don't do the thing that we wanted to do? Because the brain will find 1,000,001 reasons why to wait until tomorrow, every single time. That's just what it does. We'll get it tomorrow. We'll get it tomorrow. But what if tomorrow doesn't come?
Exactly. It's like, I'll do it someday. And last I looked, there is no day called someday on the calendar. So it just doesn't happen. Great words of wisdom there, Clifford. Thank you. What a great way to close the show. On behalf of the amazing Clifford Starks, founder of the Fighter's Formula, I'm your host, Brian Kelly of the Mind Body Business Show. Can't wait to see you all again next time live right here. Don't forget, go to the mindbodybusinessshow.com, click the button, and enter to get notification of our next live show so you can join us, you can comment, you can interact, and you can win that 5-night vacation stay, just like everyone who's watching here tonight can do the same. All right, that is it for us here tonight. Please, everyone, do two things. Two things is all I ask. One is continue to go out and crush it in your business. Why? So you can serve and help more people. And number two, to a person, everyone, please be blessed. Take care. We'll see you again next time.
Love and light.
Thank you for tuning in to the Mind Body Business Show podcast at www.themindbodybusinessshow.com. My name is Brian Kelly.